Velli.
Hey, welcome guys to the newest episode of Plex World Podcast. Here we have my boy Ellie Velli in the villain. What's going on? Thank you so much, man.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, of course.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I met Ellie, maybe 2-3 months ago, and I thought about just having him on the podcast, and I was like, you know what, man, this guy had great energy, and here we are, man. I appreciate you for coming.
I'm happy to be here, Coach White. Do I call you Coach White on this one, or do I call you specifically?
You can call me Coach White on this one. I like it. You know what? There we go. Ellie, tell me a little bit. Well, tell them a little bit about yourself.
I'm a singer, artist. I travel through the United States, doing shows. New York based, so most of my shows are actually in New York. Live in New Jersey, New York based artist. I make pop music, R&B artists, all styles of music that you would consider, how do I say this, mainstream for the most part. Very mainstream sound. Everybody loves it when they hear it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so tell us a little bit about, where you started. Like, you just woke up one day and you just started singing in the shower, or like...
It's funny because people don't understand like how it really basically was like that. Mm-hmm. So COVID, I would say, it was a little before COVID. The story starts, it was 2019. I used to do more of a rap style music, and I used to do it for fun. I wasn't much of a singer, but I didn't have the heart to be a rapper. I was not like, because most rappers are like, I'm out here killing, do, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not me, that's not my personality. So I really wanted to learn how to sing. When COVID came, everybody was just trapped in their house, stuck in their house doing nothing. And I took that time upon myself to get into the art of singing, practice singing. So a lot of people think that it's something that you're born with. I didn't learn how to sing until I was in my early mid-20s.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
And people get surprised that like 4 years later that my voice sounds like I've been doing this for as my life.
And honestly, I've heard a lot of your songs so far, and dude, I got to tell you, you're very talented.
Thank you.
Especially for someone that, I guess in a sense just started, right? Like,
yes.
That's crazy.
I like to pop that out second. Like, I like to tell people I started after they hear the music. Because sometimes you tell people, I've been singing for about 4 years. And they're like, oh, brother, this guy probably sucks. But then when they hear it, they're like, holy really? And I'm like, yeah, really. I've only been doing this for about 4 years.
Dude, and honestly, like I said, your latest album, I have it here.
I forget my albums too.
I have it here. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. I should have.
It's okay. I have too much music.
Vegas Noir.
Yes, Vegas Noir 47.
47.
Yes.
I thought that was different because, especially, I like the song, the Cadillac Darling.
Yes.
I love that song because you have like a crazy flow to it, and I'm just like, dude, this guy is fucking talented, man.
Thank you. Stream Cadillac, darling.
Yes, stream it.
I must say,
we're popping it up right here.
the whole album is flames, of course. And I'm not saying that to gas myself. It's just a lot of people don't understand. Like, as a musician, we gas the shit out of our music because there's so much behind it outside of ourselves. I work with a producer from Italy that did like 6 out of the 7 tracks on that album. So
really?
I'm blessed to even be linked with him.
Right.
In the first place, like, you're hyped. And my engineer, my studio engineer, he's a Dominican guy from the Bronx. I travel 2.5 hours every time I'm going to the studio. Yeah. During COVID, another fun story, during COVID, he was my engineer. And I would, every day, when everyone was stuck in the house, I'd be like, yo, bro, like, what's going on? You got free studio time? And nobody was going to the studio.
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
And I would take that 2.5 hour trip every day, back and forth. 2 hours there, 2 hours back, just to be in the studio and get some music out.
Yeah. Dude, and I tell you, like, your vocals, everything is just, and I love the messages that you have in each song too. I'm just like, damn, man, like, this guy is very talented. The question I have for you, so your first album, it was released, at least on Apple Music, it said 2020.
Yes.
Right? 2020 to now 2024.
Yes.
Do you see any difference or like a different type of message that you're trying to give out between then and now?
Oh, hell yeah. I changed the style. I try to, anytime I create an album, I try not to be the last version of myself. it still needs a bit of consistency to make it feel like you're still listening to me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you want it to you don't want people to get like, you don't want yourself to get stale.
Right.
So the first version of me, I would say, it was kind of like, we're having fun. I want to show that you can mix rap, singing, a little bit of rock, everything into one album, and it makes sense. And keep in mind, that was my first album when I was singing a bit. Wasn't singing as much as I am now, but I was singing a bit, so I had to get those vocals out. That was my first album, the part of the show. I put it on.
Oh, you have it on you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait.
The part of the show. Probably got to get my other albums too. The second album was that. No, that wasn't Shots After Dawn. That's my third album. The second album, The After Party of the Morning, wanted to get a little bit more into the vocals, but I wanted to make it feel like it was more of a club presence. I was still grasping my energy and still trying to figure out who I am as an artist.
Right.
Shots After Dawn, I got in the style of kind of bringing music to another place.
Okay.
So I wanted to throw Latin vibes in it. Like I wanted to make it feel like you was in a Latin club, like you was in Miami, or you was in Cuba, South America, like all those different styles of vibes I wanted to bring.
Right.
And then now the album that I'm working on, that I just finished, Vegas Noir 47, I took us back to 1947, gave it a Noir sound, and kind of wanted to make you feel like you was in a jazz club in 1947.
Right. That's awesome. That's
A
awesome.
lot of hidden messages in that album particularly.
Okay.
But that's by far my favorite album that I've ever created.
Yeah. And so now let me ask you, when you're making these albums, what's the time? Like, how long does it take for you to create these projects? Because I know, like, certain artists now, they say sometimes it might take them 2 years before they put out an album.
Dude, that's true. Honestly, it does not take me that long. Every artist is different.
Okay.
I will say, making music, how long one song takes, is not a consistent thing. One song, literally, I've had songs that I've written in like a few hours, and then I have other songs that it took me months to complete. Yes, I have songs that was meant for like one album that wouldn't make it until like 2 albums later because it took me that long to finish the song. It is crazy.
Yeah.
This album particularly, I locked in. So January came, and I wasn't even planning on really making an album.
Right.
But the producer that I brought up, his name's Chino. Sino, that's how you pronounce it. I had one of his beats, and it sounded so like, it's my song Dr. Pepper. It sounded so like vintage. And I'm like, oh my God, if I could just get a whole bunch of beats like this. And then he was like, dude, I like your flow. Like, I would love to work with you. Mm-hmm. And he had a bunch of beats like that he sent to me, basically, that he sent my way.
Right.
And I was like, dude, this is so fire. Just kept the whole vibe like that. And then I had an album, 7-track album, of basically 1940s sounding tracks.
That's awesome, man. And so now you have 4 albums out. What is your goal with this now? Do you see yourself on a big screen, like, you know, in Hollywood, or you see yourself there? Okay, so what's your dream in all this?
So my dream is just to be as comfortable as possible making music. There's so many talented artists. There's so many musicians. I feel like everyone gets discouraged by looking at the top and seeing like, this artist has 200,000 monthly listeners, or this artist has 3 million, this artist has 7 million. I just want to have enough to be able to, I don't know, have another kid or 2.
Yeah.
Like, be able to eat.
Right.
Like, be comfortable, be able to travel, go to LA, and have an audience of at least 1,000 people will be able to come out and watch me. And guess what? You're not as big as Drake with 1,000 people watching you, but you're good enough to open shows. You're big enough to open shows, and you're big enough to live off of being
right.
Yeah.
So, do you have any kids, or are you married at all?
I have 1 kid.
Okay.
He lives in the state of Florida with his mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, where do you see yourself? I guess statewide, like, do you see yourself living in New Jersey? or do you see yourself California? Like, where's your ideal destination spot?
So if you would have asked me this about 5, 6 years ago, I would have said California.
Okay.
Because it's California. Southern
Right.
California to be exact.
Right.
But California seems to be going the same direction that we are over here.
Right, right.
Like, everybody's leaving California to go to Texas. Everybody over here is leaving Jersey and New York to go to Georgia. It's not even just about the price of living, that's one thing, but it's also about just the community. Like, it's just, I don't know. Do we curse on these podcasts?
We could. Fuck it. There we go.
Yeah, it's like you leave, you go, like, you come to New Jersey and it's this big fuck you mentality.
Right.
Like, you're scared to ask people for directions when you're lost. You're scared to, like, be like, because people are just so rude.
Right.
I went to Georgia. I've been to every state on the Northeast, from Massachusetts down to Florida. And I can tell you Jersey and New York is probably the two rudest states.
Yeah.
And Southern Florida. The two rudest states that I've ever been to. You see the beautiful community that you get hit with when you're in Virginia Beach. People are so friendly, you don't want to leave. Same thing with Georgia and Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham. You meet so many beautiful people, so many fun people. It's kind of like, why am I tolerating this?
Right.
Yeah, I'm an artist. I want to be able to speak to people comfortably.
Right.
But there is a bit of a funness up here. It's a bit of a, I don't know. When I come back up here, I feel like I move like myself more.
Yeah.
This is still what I am at the end of the day, a Northeast.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I feel the same way too. Like, I traveled to Texas, to California. I just think the way of life here, the food, number one, is better, right?
Yeah.
Jersey. But even just like, I feel it's so fast paced. I'm so used to the fast paced life that when I go over there, I'm just like, wait a minute. I feel like I'm going too fast when everything's so much slower over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, everything is, and that's the thing too, everything's so slow. Like when you head to Atlanta, even like when I went to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's like Puerto Rico and Chicago, both of them. But especially Puerto Rico. You know how you're in a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts up here, and they're just like, order for Ellie, order for blah blah blah, order for blah. Like they're like they're moving.
Yeah.
But over in Puerto Rico, it's kind of like you're at a sit-down restaurant.
Right.
When you pull up to a Starbucks, they're taking their sweet ass time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's.
And shout out to our Puerto Ricans, by the way.
Shout out to Puerto Rico. Nothing against Puerto Ricans or Puerto Rico, but your Starbucks are slow. You need to come up to the city or Jersey and get a real Starbucks.
Right.
But we have some perks up here, and I think that's probably one of them. And music is also one of them. But this isn't the only mecca of music in America.
Right.
There's other places to travel to where you could get that same effect.
So let me ask you, so now in the music genre world, do you see yourself working with a particular, I guess, who's your wish to work with?
It's funny how quick, like, I'm changing, so it makes my answers change. If you would have asked me this about 4 years ago, I would have said The Weeknd.
Okay.
The Weeknd is one of my favorite artists.
Right.
And I would still love to be on a song with The Weeknd, and that's
right.
huge. But as my style has continued to change, I feel like me and Bruno Mars in a song would be...
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Epic.
That'd be crazy.
That would be epic. I love everything about that man, Bruno Mars, in the most heterosexual way possible, bro. This might sound crazy.
Yeah.
People gonna watch it like,
whoa, pause.
You ever watch someone and they just got so much charm, they got so much charisma, you just like smiling, you just like, man, that man cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like, if I could be like that, I don't want to be like anyone but myself.
Right.
But if I couldn't be myself and I have to be someone else or like somebody else, I want to wake up like Bruno Mars.
That's it. That's it.
That man is too cool.
And he's very talented too, by the way. Extremely.
He is a pop star of our generation.
Yeah. What's your favorite song from Bruno Mars?
Oh, that is so hard. Right now, I would say it's Straight Up and Down.
Okay.
Or Moonshine is fire. I forget which albums these are on, but nah, probably Straight Up and Down. Got your body rocking side to side. I put you on and now you're feeling right. Not a popular song.
Damn, we got a little preview.
Yeah, that's every time I hear it, I'm like, woo. The way he jumps on the track, and it's funny, he says the corniest shit. No one peeps it. Next time you listen to a Bruno Mars song, pay attention to what
Just dial in.
I'm like, people call Drake corny. No, Bruno Mars might be the corniest man. He jumps on the track and says, "Girl, I bet your mama named you good looking, 'cause you sure look good to me." I'm like, bro, what? Come on, bro. But he's so cool with it.
Right.
He could get away with it.
Right.
That man is talented.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, I hope that you work with Bruno Mars too. You know what I mean? Is there a specific story that you might have when working with certain producers, or just going to a show?
Yeah. Well, shit, there's a lot when I think about it. Working with artists, I would say it's fun, but sometimes it could be a little difficult because artists, like the musician artists,
right?
They're usually on their own time. We're all on our own time. We got our own shows. We got our own whatever.
Of course.
We got our own sounds. And every artist has this. Every musician has this. Nowadays, especially this type of cockiness where it's kind of like you could throw me on any beat and I'll be fire on it. So it's kind of like you might have a beat that you want to be working on, and they produce something on it, and then you produce something, but it still has to be, what's the word I'm looking for, coherent? Like it has to really make sense.
Right.
The same project. So a lot of the times you get two cocky artists working together, or more cocky artists working together on a song, and it's two good verses, multiple good verses.
Right.
There's a song that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So when it comes to collaborating with other musicians, it's kind of like, all right, let's just do something that makes sense. We're not trying to have the best verse here. We're trying to have the best song. It's not like I'm trying to outdo you. I'm not trying to outdo your vocals. You're not trying to do my vocals. It's kind of like I have a friend who was on one of my songs. I like to get singers on my track who I feel like could outperform me.
Right.
Yes, because I am a good singer. I want other good singers on my song, and if I'm gonna have someone on my song, they're gonna have to take the song somewhere that I couldn't take it.
Right.
So I usually get I usually get women features.
Okay.
To be on it, because they take tracks higher somewhere else where I couldn't, because their voices go somewhere.
Right.
That like mine can't touch yet, at least.
Yeah.
So when collaborating with artists, I like to collaborate with artists that it makes sense to make that collaboration
Right.
with. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you want to make your job easier, that you bring someone on and you guys could just mesh together. You don't want one person to be like, oh, I can hit that note higher than you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like now, when it comes to working with like producers, to hit the other side of that question, producers could be fascinating.
Okay.
This might sound weird, and it sounds weird every time I say it, because every year I work with another producer or two or three, and it's the same thing. I've never worked with one American. Actually, I've only worked with one American producer. I probably have like 60 songs plus out.
Really?
I've only worked with one American producer.
Wow. Okay.
Producers are they hear you and they hear your talent, but at the end of the day, they still have a style, a sound, and I am not one of those people who will say, I will cook up on any beat. I want to cook up on something that I feel like it's a vibe I range, but you're not going to throw me on a techno beat. You're not going to throw me on. You could, but not at this moment, not what I'm working on.
Right.
You're not going to throw me on. I don't want to count anything out, but there's vibes that we are not. As an artist, you might not be in that place at the moment.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard working with a producer that might want to change their style, or like kind of make it relate to you a little. Like, yeah, we can work on something that sounds a little techno-ish. We can keep it your style.
Right.
But make sure it kind of caters to what I do also, you know? Yeah.
So what's one thing that, is there a specific producer that you like to work with?
My favorite producer to work with, he's actually out of Thailand. Well, he's from Croatia originally.
Okay.
He's on YouTube. His name is Ghost House. His name is Ghost House.
Okay.
I found him in 2020 with one of my first Big Tracks, and I hate this song. So many people love it.
Hates the song, loves the producer. Love it.
I hate a lot of my old songs, but I love this beat. I hate this song because I just don't like what I did with it. But a lot of people love it. It's called Crazy Natalie. A lot of ways to, from what a lot of artists don't know, a lot of these producers, they place their beats on YouTube.
Okay.
You could always download the stems, get the stems, make the beat your own or whatever. And I did that with the song Crazy Natalie. Found this YouTube beat, brought it, changed the beat, stems up, made it sound like my own song to differentiate, to make the song sound different from anyone but the same beat.
Right.
And I think it was out for probably a couple weeks, and I sent it to him because he's never heard of me. It's just this random guy who made this random song on his beat. And it's like, dude, this sounds amazing.
Right.
And then I continue going through his beats, and he has so many good beats. And then ever since then, we worked together. I think he produced probably 70% of my songs.
Really?
Yeah, and that's including the last album that he only has one song on this album that was completely produced by him. But I had so many songs before this album that was produced by him. He's probably produced at least 70% of my songs because I love his beats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Shout out to him, and maybe we'll link his YouTube here too. Why not?
We could definitely do that.
We could do that. We could do that.
No
So let me ask you. So what's next now? I saw you. You told me you just came back from Miami.
Yeah.
So what's next now, moving forward?
Moving forward, what do we say what's next?
Well, I guess the rest of 2024, right? Because
Yeah.
3 more months now, right?
Yeah. So I have the main things that I want to say that I'm working on. After this next trip to get away, I don't have a show on this next trip in Atlanta. I'm just in Atlanta to network and be with friends.
Okay.
But after that, then I'm back in New York and I'm working. I have a show in Delancey in Manhattan. Anybody who knows about the Delancey, they go crazy.
Right.
Like, oh my God, you're in the Delancey? That's
Yeah.
such a great place to have a show. But yeah, the Delancey, I'm getting that show as lit as I possibly can. My guitarist dropped out, so I have to get another guitarist.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we have to have band practice, and I really want that show to go crazy. And stepping into next year, the beginning of the year is always hard. I know you said 2024, but going to 2025, the beginning of the year is always hard because my birthday's in January.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I have to plan around my birthday, and it's always music related.
Right.
Whatever I do around my birthday.
Right.
So, I'm basically thinking about January like it's a part of this year.
Okay.
So, most likely I'm going to travel far away from New York because I do not like the cold weather.
Yeah, no, and January is the worst time to be in Jersey. January, February is the worst time, by the way.
Yeah, like people look at me, they say, you were born in January and you hate the cold weather. I'm good in the cold weather. I'm great in the cold weather. I move around like a penguin.
Right.
But I do not like the cold weather.
Exactly, especially on your birthday too. You're not trying to be in the cold, you know what I mean?
Do you know how many birthdays I've been through, like snowstorms and like terrible weather? Like I think my last birthday was the warmest birthday I've had. It was like 47 degrees.
What?
Yeah, it was
Damn,
47
dude.
raining. And that's a hot January 23rd.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, January 30th?
January 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn,
That's
dude.
a hot January 23rd.
Yeah, that's crazy.
47
47?
on January 23rd is like
Yeah.
93 right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna see people playing basketball in Jersey with that weather. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. So when are you in New York? I know you say you're going to Atlanta, but when you're going to New York? When you perform in New York?
I perform in New York on November 14th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
7 o'clock at night. I should have said it.
That's a Friday, right? Friday?
That's a Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
November 14th.
That's in Manhattan?
Manhattan. Yeah.
I might have to check that out for real. Like seriously.
I got
Seriously.
the tickets on sale and everything. Tickets, I don't know how soon this is going up, but if it's up, obviously before the show, at this moment, the tickets are $10. In the future, once we get closer to the show, they go back up to the regular price of $16. But it's gonna be a hell of a night.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great night. I have 45 minutes. I'm gonna be singing songs that I haven't performed yet.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna be with great artists surrounding me, guitarists. I haven't quite figured out the orientation of the band yet, but
Okay.
we're always gonna have a guitarist. Most likely gonna have my guy Dom on bass, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And this is yours. This is your show.
Yeah.
And then now you're gonna have people opening up for you, right? I'm assuming.
No, there's no opener on this one. Actually, is there? No, there's not an opener on this.
Okay.
When I work with other people, like when I work with Breaking Sound, which is a company that rents out venues in New York, like Pianos, which is another popular one, or SOBs, or Berlin. They get those venues and they promote out of there. When I work with them, usually I'll be somebody's opener or somebody will be my opener.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where's the one spot? I know you're about to perform in New York.
Yeah.
Where's the one spot that you've always wanted to perform at? It could be somewhere in the States, it could be in another country. Up to you.
Ooh, I don't know why, but it seems so lit to perform in Brazil one day.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
No exact venue in my head because I do not know much about Brazil, but in 2020 when I had that run on my song Crazy Nataline, they had the best supporters. I could not understand jack shit they were saying, but I was typing everything, putting it in Google
Translate, yeah.
Yeah, and everything they were saying, like, this song slaps, this is good.
Really?
Yeah.
All in the comments?
All
Yeah?
the comments,
Wow.
the Brazilian comments were great because I was pushing promotions out of Brazil.
Right.
And, God, they might be the best supporters that, not knocking anyone else, support, not take it from anywhere, but they might be the most die-hard supporters.
That's
for
awesome.
this kid who just started making music at that time.
That's awesome. So now, obviously, when you were just starting, were you nervous at all, just starting at all? Or you were just like, you know what, I'm going to do this thing and that's it?
The thing is, no one breaks down how weird doing music is because it's so many different things that you have to do. You get nervous at some of them, and then other ones you don't really think twice about. So when I first started, I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't care about putting out the songs. The songs are good, the songs are fire. The last thing I was thinking about was performing though. Now when you get on stage and you perform, then it's like a whole different animal. It's a different beast. You're thinking like, well, this can't be harder than singing in the studio. It's not, but it's different than singing in a studio.
Right.
It's different roles than singing in a studio. I think that singing live is easier than singing in a studio because you have to get everything perfect.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, it could sound good in the studio, but no, it has to sound great in the studio.
Right.
Or the song is not going to be great. No mistakes in the studio version.
Right.
The live versions, you live for your mistakes. It's your song. Like,
right.
You know it. Usually the mistakes that you hear, no one else noticed. And they could have heard those songs. They could have heard Cadillac Darling 20 times.
Right.
And they not noticed that I made the mistake that I noticed.
Right.
It's my song, and that's the great thing about performing live. It's just more of a vibe
right.
than perfection.
So, and I feel like when you're a musician, there's three components now where it's like, okay, you have the studio time, you have the concert time, but then also like the music video too. I saw you have a few music videos, and obviously that takes time too because there's so many like cuts and edits and you have to get this certain angle right. Like, so explain that process with the music videos. Do you feel like it comes natural to you? Because I know sometimes certain people, they might be great in the studio. Yeah. They might be great when it comes to on stage, but when it comes to the music video, they just can't get it right because, they're not good with the camera, you know?
The thing about music videos too, you got to set up an environment that's really comfortable for you. I choose to be a big part of the music video, like my music videos, setting them up. I actually am the main editor on all of my music videos. Of course, I don't shoot them. I can't shoot my own music videos on camera. But I am the editor. Okay. So I know which it kind of helps you because I know what I want in the video.
Right.
And realizing that it's kind of easier to perform, it's easier to look cool. Like you do cringe a little when you see your off takes that you didn't like.
Yeah.
It's better me seeing that than somebody else.
Right.
Whatever, that would have edited it. But you got to create an environment that you feel comfortable in, I would say. That makes you feel like, okay, this is good. Get yourself, whatever models you have, get yourself some models that you're going to be comfortable with.
Right.
Like, you're going to be around beautiful women, but make sure they're cool, beautiful women,
Right.
Make sure you're cool with them. Make sure you're as professional as you could possibly be.
Right.
But it's nothing scarier than a model that's a model and nothing else. Like,
exactly.
Nothing. Like, we can't even be friends after this. So
Yeah.
You want to be, a lot of my friends are models, a lot of the people that I work with. in my music videos. The models that model for me, we could go get a cup of coffee or get a cup of tea right now.
Right.
It'll be cool. We could go get a drink or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
We are cool like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so I think, because I don't know, I see a lot of people, they're doing the music videos, and I could tell that, like, or at least just like how you said, sometimes it's like, all right, we're doing this music video, we're not going to be friends after this now.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man. I'm like, dude, like, that was a good music video, though. You know, like, at least that's what you see. But, you know, it's like, you're not even going to be friends after that.
Exactly. Like, I like to, I mean, you're not going to stay in touch with everybody that you work with.
Right.
But I like to, like, if I work with somebody, I probably want to work with them again. Like, it's just to keep the relationship going, basically. Like, you did great in this, I might want to use you for, like, use you in something else.
Right.
And vice versa. Maybe they'll, I don't know, pull me and put me in something or whatever, like a commercial or a short or whatever they're doing. Because models be doing everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Musicians just want to be musicians. Models want to do everything. They don't just model. They dance. They side sing. They got side hustles.
Yeah, of course.
Products.
Yeah,
everything. Actors.
You know what, though? I was just going to mention that, too. There's also another key component now. Now, you got into being a musician in 2020, so it might have been a little different, but now I see that some singers now, they have to get used to being on the social media side of things, and that's like a big, like, they don't want to do that. They just want to make the music, do like, you know, the production side of things, but they don't want to do social media. Do you feel like you have an issue with that? Well, I know the answer to that, but, you know, maybe you could tell them.
Believe it or not, I actually feel like I don't like the social media side of it.
Okay.
I do it. I like seeing myself on social media, of course, so maybe I don't not like it, but I always have this theory. I say if you're not good on social media, you don't like to be on social media, what you have to do is make sure something gotta give. You gotta be somewhere else. So if you don't like social media, if you don't like posting on social media, you don't like doing all of those corny social media TikTok trends, you better be outside. Like, promoting that way, or you better be in a lot of venues, networking events, because you don't have to, everyone thinks that you have to push through social media. But if you have a strong following and a strong base in person, people who can come down to a show, why do you got to worry about social media?
Right.
You will need to touch base with social media. That's the annoying part.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to post your shows on social media, you're going to have to post your music on social media. But you don't have to be what a lot of people see a lot of artists doing. Like, a lot of artists nowadays, you see them, they're more of a, hey, I'm promoting my song on the street, and they're putting it on social media. It's just gimmicky.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of us don't want to be gimmicky.
Yeah.
We just want to be like, well, I put out this song, go listen to it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's good. I shouldn't have to do all this extra work.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm the only one saying it, but a lot of artists think it.
I mean, listen, I think it's another task for us, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur, and I feel like that's another side of it that I have to post on social media, because if I don't, then how is it going to blow up, you know? And that's the thing.
Yeah, it sucks. And even within social media, like, you gotta treat your social media like it's a dog.
Yes.
Like it's a pet.
Yes.
Like, because you have to babysit it. Like, there's so many new features every day.
Right.
For instance, you can follow somebody's channel now.
Right.
Like, so if you have their Instagram, you can follow their account and then you can follow their channel. And never have I ever thought that there'd be a day on social media where I could say, I followed you and then I followed you again. You gotta follow from my follow, because now I'm following the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not just following you, I'm really following you, because there's so much going on social media.
Right.
They create those channels so you could really keep up with them, because posts get lost in social media.
Right.
People tell me a lot of times, like, I haven't seen you post in weeks, months, and I'd be like, yes, I have. Like, it's just, you follow 2,000 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not always gonna see me.
Right.
So that's why if you find an artist that you like, make sure that you get make sure that you put them in your favorites. There's a way to do that. Make sure you follow their channel. Make sure you get their music from Spotify, Apple Music. Don't just hang out on their Instagram.
Right.
Hang out on Instagram in general. Follow their other social medias. Get on their YouTube. Get on their whatever. Just pay attention to the artists that you support, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that you just brought up because the algorithm, right? Like the algorithm, I see it all the time with my Instagram or my TikTok. I'll see certain content creators that I might have saw, 6 months ago, and now it's like I haven't seen them in the past 6 months, and then I'll just see them randomly today. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about this person. You know what I mean? Not that I forgot, but it just like that's just how the social media world's not, it works. And are you big on any particular any social media platform? Are you particularly big on, or are you just like, do you say, oh, I'm gonna, I'm spending time on TikTok. Oh, do I spend time on Twitter?
I was ginormous on TikTok.
Okay.
And I gave up on it because I hate TikTok. I had 200,000 followers, but I got tired. Well, that's not ginormous, that's big. But I got tired of TikTok because it's so draining. And as I said, I'm not a gimmicky person, and I realized that. And I had to reevaluate myself. And to get people to really pay attention to you, you have to post 3 times a day in a fashion that you weren't even comfortable in, or what you didn't even want to post just to get those followers.
Right, right.
And then as a musician, you got to remember, you're not doing this for followers. You're doing this for your music. Like,
right.
If the followers are not supporting your music, what are we really doing this for?
Right.
And that's what I came to conclusion with. I still have about, after being inactive for probably over a year, almost 2, I still have 188,000 followers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but maybe I'll come back to TikTok when I figure it out, or how I want to use that platform, but I just can't tolerate it. I stick right now to Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, we're going to have that link below for you guys to follow his Instagram, his YouTube, everything. So now let me ask you, what is your plan now? I think I already asked you, but where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years down the road? Do you see yourself doing music full time, or do you see yourself just doing it until you're comfortable and then that's it?
5 years, 10 years down the road, music has to be full time.
Okay.
It has to be. I want to travel more than I already do. I want to get paid more than I do. I want to have more supporters than I do. Everything has to amplify itself. Because even when I look at where I was 4 years ago, when I thought that I would have been here. As you continue to do something, no matter what it is, you should have the idea that you're going to wake up and get bigger and better at it every day.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean every day is literally going to go up gradually, but you're going to have some bumps in the road. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. But that's everything in life. So 5, 10 years from now, I'm going to be comfortable.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So now, the way I end these podcasts are, I always ask the guests, listen, do you have a quote of the day, or do you have a saying that you might want to tell the people out there, or maybe like a question that you have for them for the end of the podcast? It literally could be anything. It could be something that you might want to tell the people, motivation, whatever.
Don't quit on your dreams. That's all I'm going to say. Don't quit on your dreams. There's so many people that say when you get to a certain age that you're not going to make it, or like no one makes it at this age, no one does this because artists fall off at this age or whatever. There's actors who didn't get their first major role until they were like 40 or 50. There's musicians who didn't get like really noticed until their mid-30s. Musicians who didn't have hits pop off until their 40s. It's kind of like, it's funny. You know how they say with women, shoot your shot.
Right.
Shit, sometimes you're going to have to shoot and shoot and shoot. Keep shooting those damn shots. Like, sooner or later, a baddie's going to be like, okay, you're cute. Like,
yeah, of course, yeah.
That's going to happen sooner or later, so why don't we treat our talents like that? Why don't we treat our arts like that? So, at any moment that you're feeling discouraged, or you have writer's block, or you're feeling imposter syndrome, just remember that you're doing it for a reason. Think of your supporters, everybody supporting you, why you're doing this in the first place. And if you stop what you're doing right now, you kind of look stupid.
I always say that there's an image that, I'll pop up here too, but the guy is, he gave up on his dreams so early, right? And then the one guy at the bottom, he's chipping, and then he stops literally right at when he's about to get all the diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And I just always say, dude, if you have a dream, just like how he said, just pursue it, man, because you never know what's gonna happen, right? Like if
Yeah.
you just give up on your dream, the thought of that later on down the life is like, fuck, what if? You know what I mean?
You better die doing that dream if you're a musician, and and you don't got a song popping or whatever. If you really believe in yourself, you better be pushing that music until you're 85.
That's it.
That sounds crazy. It is crazy, but this lifestyle is crazy. This is not go to school and finish high school when you're 18, go to school for 4 more years, then go to school for another 4 more years. It's not set up like that. It doesn't make any sense what we do.
Right.
So why would you expect for you to know anything that's going to happen when it happens? So just be all in. That's it.
That's it. Ellie, I appreciate you for coming on. And we're going to link all his socials, all his music down below. Make sure you guys listen to his latest album also, man. It's absolutely insane. I'm not just saying that because he's here. I was listening to it all day at work. I was listening to it all week when I asked him to come to the podcast. And I was like, shit, man, this guy's really fucking talented, man. Make sure you guys listen to the album. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Vegas, Noir.
Peace.